The epiphany is that we have, the U.S. has, for the first time in its post-war history, a rival, a proper rival. The Soviet Union was not a proper rival. China is a proper rival. And so among the things I discuss in the bank is, what does the U.S. and the West need to do to think differently about China? What does China need to do to get along better with the West? And ultimately, the objective is to have mutual respect and find ways to build upon the relationship, because as you know, as your listeners know, the bilateral relationship between the U.S. and China is at an all-time low. So the question is, how do we build to get a better foundation upon which to proceed in the future? Now, there are a lot of skeptics out there, and there's plenty of room for skepticism because we've seen agreements come and go, we've seen initiatives come and go, and they sort of fall by the wayside or they just become obliterated. What needs to happen is that both sides need to come to some understanding about what each of the other needs to do and what each of them need to do. And among the things that the U.S. and the West needs to do is it needs to marshal its resources more effectively to counter China, right? Because we've got individual countries doing individual initiatives, and they're not spending enough time on what they can do together. And it's only by joining their resources together that they're ultimately going to have the sort of force that they need in order to provide a proper counterweight to China.